Play it. If y'all don't, I will. That's what Stevie J said, standing dead center in that courtroom, one hand holding a slick black USB drive like it was a detonator, and the other pointing directly at Bambi like he was calling judgment from above. Silence hit the room like a punch. You could feel it. Every camera, every attorney, even the judge froze in place. The air itself seemed to pause. And then Stevie moved. Cool, slow, confident. He stepped to the evidence laptop, inserted the USB, and clicked play. What filled the courtroom screen wasn't just footage. It was a loaded weapon. A shaky video flickered to life. Grainy hotel room lighting, Bambi pacing in front of the bed, wearing a long black hoodie and leggings. Her face was bare. Her voice was raw. "If Scrappy thinks I'm really pregnant," she said, her words sharp but hushed, "that's on him. I told y'all I need that check." Boom. That wasn't just a confession. That was the floor collapsing under everyone's feet. You could hear gasps ripple through the press row. Scrappy's mouth fell open, his face draining of every ounce of blood. Even the judge leaned forward, eyes narrowed. "And Bambi," she screamed, "that video is fake." She yelled, lurching to her feet like the fire alarm just went off. But security was already moving. Stevie stood his ground, arms crossed, ice cold. "Nah," he said calmly. "That's your voice, your plan, and your L." What was supposed to be a sealed, routine family hearing had just exploded into a full-scale media massacre. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters typed with the speed of gunfire. And baby, that was only clip 1. The screen went black for a beat. Just enough. Time to let the horror settle. Then clip 2. Same hotel room. This time a different angle, shakier footage. Bambi still pacing, but now on the phone, her face turned toward the window. "Yeah, I told Mona we got the pregnancy angle," she said, sounding tired but satisfied. "Scrappy ain't even asked no questions. He just happy I stopped yelling, and Then she laughed. Hard, loud, cold. "I even got a dummy ultrasound for the apps," she said. "That'll keep the heat off." It wasn't just scandal. This was warfare. Tactical manipulation with receipts. Planned deception weaponized for attention, airtime, and sympathy. In the crowd, one woman gasped and put her hand over her mouth. Scrappy still hadn't moved, frozen like his soul just detached from his body. But his jaw twitched, his hand clenched, his breath changed. Then came the storm. Bambi, real-life in-court Bambi, stood up again. "I never said that," she screamed, pointing at the screen like it had insulted her ancestors. "That's edited. That's old. He's lying. This is fake. This is all fake." The judge slammed his gavel. "Sit down, Ms. Richardson." But Bambi didn't. She kept going, yelling over the chaos, until finally, 2 security guards flanked her. Then Stevie J, still calm as a winter morning, stepped forward again. "Your Honor," he said, "there's more." The judge nodded slowly, hands tented under his chin. "Let it play." Clip 3. This one made the last 2 look like warm-ups. Bambi again in the same room. Different outfit. Full glam. Glass of champagne in hand. Face. Lit by the glow of a vanity ring light. And she was on FaceTime. Voice elevated, giggling. "She bought it?" Stevie's voice asked off camera. "She cried," Bambi replied, lips curled into a cruel smile. "Good. That's what she gets." "She?" the judge asked aloud, confused. But then it cut. Clip 4. Bambi on the phone again, but this time, the conversation was clear as day. "We'll drop the pregnancy reveal right before the reunion shoot," she said. "That'll get me at least 3 more episodes, minimum." Boom. VH1 producers, sitting quietly in the back of the courtroom, suddenly began to fidget. One of them stood up and walked out. Their phones were buzzing, notifications flying in. This wasn't just a Bambi and Scrappy situation anymore. This was a network scandal. This was a bomb wired straight to the foundation of love and hip-hop itself. Judge finally paused the footage, rubbing his temples. "Mr. Stevie?" he asked. "How many of these clips do you have?" Stevie leaned back, one eyebrow arched. 17. The courtroom lost it. Reporters scrambling, audience gasping, Twitter melting down. And then, boom, the final twist of the morning. Stevie added, "Some were recorded with consent, some without." "Excuse me?" the judge snapped. Stevie's lawyer stood, already prepared. "Your Honor, we have reason to believe Ms. Bambi gave recording consent through her production waiver with VH1. There's legal precedent." The judge blinked slowly. This just became a bigger case. Bambi's lawyer shot to his feet. "Your Honor, this is a violation of privacy," I said. The judge thundered. "This just became a bigger case. Sit down." Scrappy still hadn't said a word. He just sat there, shoulders slumped, face blank, until a single tear traced. Down his cheek, he didn't even wipe it away. The courtroom lights dimmed as clip 5 loaded. Dark room. FaceTime call. Stevie J's voice. "You sure you want to do this?" "Bambi. He left me broke. I ain't got time to wait on karma. I am karma." Boom. It hit like a truck. Scrappy collapsed, right there in court. Face first off the bench. A crash. Gasps. Then silence. Security rushed to him. A nurse from the gallery jumped over the railing. "Get him air!" someone shouted. But Bambi, she didn't move. She didn't cry. She didn't panic. She just sat there frozen, watching him, watching her lies come home to roost. The judge banged his gavel again. "Recess!" And as they wheeled Scrappy out on a stretcher, Stevie J adjusted his collar, turned to the nearest camera and said, "Play dumb games. Win dumb prizes." Seconds later, part 2 began. But the echoes of that fall, of that video, of that face-down collapse, they weren't going anywhere. Because what came next made everything before it look like child's play. Outside the courthouse, chaos reigned. Paparazzi swarmed like bees shaken from a nest. Reporters tripped over cords. People were shouting, "Scrappy's down. Is he okay? Did Bambi fake the whole thing?" And somewhere in that madness, Stevie J stood at the top of the courthouse steps like he was posing for a magazine cover, nodding to the cameras, soaking in the storm he had just created. But the real shock wasn't outside. It was still coming. From inside those marble walls. Back in the courtroom, just as the energy started to settle, another twist walked through the door. A man, mid-40s, pale, visibly sweating, stood from the back row holding a manila envelope with trembling hands. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "I have something to submit to the court," he said. The judge narrowed his eyes. "And you are?" "Trevor Miles, segment director for Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. I was on set for the season 12 wrap." He stepped forward, handed the envelope to the bailiff, and said the words that broke the last thread of calm in the room. "This is the raw cut footage from an unaired bonus scene. The one Bambi begged us to destroy." Silence. You could have heard a pin drop. The judge waved him off, opened the envelope, and handed the USB to the courtroom tech. The screen flickered to life. There she was, Bambi. Hair slicked, full glam. Champagne glass in hand, lashes like wings, nails tapping against the stem of the flute. She was mid-confessional, filmed on a green screen for a reunion special that never aired, and she said it, clear as day. "I never planned to be pregnant," she began, voice steady, calculated. But the storyline was too easy. Scrappy's dumb enough to believe anything when he's in love. That's his weakness. Then, without blinking, she looked straight into the camera lens. And I used it. The room gasped. Even the judge stiffened. But Bambi? She cracked. "No. No, no. No!" she screamed. "That wasn't supposed to air. That was cut!" She leapt up, knocking over her chair. Her voice cracked. "I was promised that would be deleted." The judge stared hard. "Promised by who?" She froze. Her lips parted, but the voice came out as a whisper. "Mona," she said. "Mona Scott. Young." Boom. The sea. Room lost it again. Gasps, whispers. Some stood from their seats. Mona's name had entered the courtroom, and with it, a whole new level of war. Because now the queenpin of reality TV was implicated. The woman behind the show. The mastermind behind every tear. Every reunion chair toss. Every storyline. Twist was now in the spotlight. One person in the gallery muttered what everyone else was thinking. She's gonna take the whole cast down to save her name. Outside, reporters shouted at VH1 staffers. One screamed, "Is Bambi getting fired or jailed?" And it wasn't even noon yet. Back inside, the judge took off his glasses and set them down slowly. This court will now consider whether there was premeditated manipulation of legal documentation. Translation? If the pregnancy report was fake and the network helped cover it up, that wasn't just scandal. That was fraud. RICO-adjacent fraud. Fraud. Then, in a voice so quiet it shook the walls, Scrappy's lawyer stood. "Your Honor," he said, "we request that the fake medical records be investigated. Our private investigator traced the clinic listed in the file. The address exists. But the doctor?" He paused. "The doctor doesn't." Boom. It was over. Bambi's face cracked in real time. She started crying. Loud, messy crying. The kind of sobbing that doesn't beg for forgiveness, just relief. And it wasn't for Scrappy. It wasn't for guilt. It was for herself. Because she knew. Deep down, it was done. The judge leaned in, voice ice cold. "Do you understand the severity of what you've done?" Bambi sniffled. "I didn't think he'd collapse. I just wanted him to regret leaving me." She wiped her face. "I thought if he thought I was pregnant, he'd come back." Silence. Then, Stevie J, never one to miss a cue, let out a short laugh under his breath. "Y'all ever seen a love story this toxic?" he muttered. Even the bailiff cracked a smile. But the judge? He wasn't laughing. "We're not here for drama," he snapped. "We're here for truth. And Miss Bambi, you are now officially under investigation for falsifying medical evidence in a court of law." Boom. And just when it seemed like the earth had stopped shaking, the judge turned to the door and said the words that changed everything again. "Bring her in." Her who? Heads turned. People stood. The doors creaked open, and in walked Erica Dixon, Scrappy's ex, the mother of his child, hair wrapped, no makeup, dressed in black like she came to bury secrets. In her hand, a folder. She didn't even look at Bambi. "I have something to say," she told the judge. The courtroom fell still. She walked straight to the front, opened the folder, and handed over screen recordings. "These are from Bambi," she said. "She sent them to me during the last reunion taping. She said, and I quote, 'If Scrappy doesn't get back in line, I'll leak this and say it's real.'" Screenshots flashed across the courtroom monitors. Texts, receipts. One of them said fake baby. Real drama. The audience exploded. Even the judge exhaled like he couldn't believe this was real life. But Erica wasn't done. She turned, pointed at Bambi, and said, "You think this is about you? I got a daughter too, and you using a fake baby for attention? Nah, that affects all of us. You made a joke out of motherhood." Even Bambi stopped crying. Outside, chaos had mutated into protest. People were holding up signs now. "Real women don't fake babies." "Love and hip-hop or lie and hustle." "Jail Bambi, save Scrappy." And VH1, they dropped a press release. "Before lunch, we are cooperating fully with legal authorities and conducting an internal investigation. All current filming has been paused, but it was already too late. The damage? Done." And that was before the final twist dropped. A moment that would become the most played clip in franchise history. A reporter burst through the courtroom doors, breathless, waving a phone. "There's a video," he cried, "from Stevie. Jay's private archive. It's labeled Final Footage." Everyone turned. Even the judge froze. "Play it," he ordered. The bailiff plugged it in. The screen flickered, and what came next? Well, the screen flickered once, then again. The courtroom held its collective breath, and then the footage began. There was no glam lighting, no soft focus filters, no music, no production polish. This was raw, a dimly lit hotel room, shaky camera movement, muffled sounds of traffic outside. Then came Stevie J's voice, calm, deliberate, almost like he was documenting a crime. "December 17th, he whispered. "She told me she needed proof Scrappy still cared. I told her to chill. But she said she'd do whatever it took." The camera panned across the bed, landed on the mirror, and there, in clear reflection, was Bambi. Hair tied up, no makeup, hoodie and leggings. She was pacing like a caged animal. He bought it, right? She asked off camera. Stevie's voice replied. He cried. Bambi laughed like it was funny. Good, she said. That's what he gets. You could hear someone in the courtroom whisper, "Oh my God." The judge clenched his jaw. Scrappy's lawyer closed his eyes. Even the court reporter's fingers hesitated on the keyboard. But the footage wasn't done. Stevie's voice came back, quieter this time. She told me she already had the sonogram made, he said. Said she knew a girl at a med spa who could edit reports. Gasps rippled across the room. One woman in the back screamed, "That's a crime!" The judge slammed his gavel. Order! Order in this court! But nothing could calm the explosion that had just gone off. Because there it was, on screen, with date and timestamp, proof that Bambi had planned the entire thing 2 weeks before she ever told Scrappy she was pregnant. She had faked the entire pregnancy, not out of desperation, not out of heartbreak, but out of vengeance. Bambi stood, covering her face with her hands. "I didn't know he kept that," she shouted. "He said he deleted it." The judge didn't blink. He pointed straight at her. "Ma'am, sit down. You're in enough trouble." And then, after almost an hour of silence, Scrappy spoke. His voice was rough, broken, a shell of what it used to be. "You played with my heart," he said, staring at her. "You played with my family, with the idea of a child." He turned toward Stevie. "And you filmed it?" Stevie shrugged, unfazed. "You ain't innocent either, dog." Gasps again. The judge snapped. "Gentlemen, this is not a reunion episode. This is a courtroom." But Stevie wasn't done. "You really think you ain't do dirt?" he said, turning toward Scrappy. "Let's talk about your nights with Erica in 2021. Scrappy turned pale, and suddenly everyone in the room was on fire again. The judge had had enough. Everybody out. Now. The room exploded into motion. Producers grabbing mics, reporters yelling into cameras, fans outside screaming louder than ever. But nobody saw what happened next. Down the hallway, behind the cameras, Mona Scott Young stood still, phone to her ear. "Face unreadable. Cancel season 13, she said, and lawyer up." Back in the judge's chambers, orders were already being signed. A warrant for Bambi's medical forgery records, a subpoena for Stevie J's full, unedited footage vault, and a gag order for the entire cast. By sunset, TMZ leaked everything. The footage, the confession, the meltdown, even Bambi's mugshot. Yes, she was booked, charged with falsifying medical documents, obstruction of justice, defamation. Her bond denied. Scrappy, meanwhile, filed for full custody of their daughter the very next morning. His lawyer spoke outside the courthouse. "Our client has suffered emotional devastation due to Ms. Bambi's deliberate campaign of manipulation and deceit. This is not entertainment. This is abuse." The fans, they were split. Some screamed, "Free Bambi," online. Others posted memes of Scrappy passed out in court with captions like, "When karma hits harder than your mixtape." But Scrappy, he wasn't laughing. In an emotional IG Live days later, he spoke from the heart. "I ain't perfect," he said, "but I never thought I'd be lied to like that. I ain't mad no more. I'm just done." He looked into the camera, tired, but honest. If you love someone, don't fake a baby to keep them. Let them go. Let them grow. That was the end of it, or so people thought. Because even as the courtrooms emptied and headlines faded, the ripples of that scandal were just beginning to spread. VH1 entered crisis mode. Sponsors pulled out, fans launched petitions, hashtags. Trended for days. And Stevie J, he dropped a teaser clip from his own YouTube channel title, "The Receipts Y'all Ain't Ready For." The thumbnail? A still shot of Bambi in that hotel room, caught mid-laugh, holding a champagne glass. The comment section, on fire. "This ain't just drama, this is criminal." She laughed about a fake baby? Stevie messy. But he ain't lying. Protect Scrappy at all costs. Where's Mona? And Mona? Well, she released a statement too. But not to the press, to her team. "We're flipping the table. No more faking. No more scripted mess." Season 14 is going full documentary. But fans weren't convinced. Some said Mona had known all along, that she was the real puppet master, that Bambi was just the actress. and Scrappy the sacrifice. One viral post read, "Reality TV never lies, but the people in it always do." Back in court, the judge issued one last ruling. Bambi was to undergo psychological evaluation. The court needed to understand not just what she did, but why. And in a sealed session, a court therapist asked her, "Do you regret it?" Bambi looked down. Her voice was flat. "I regret getting caught." The report leaked the same day, and suddenly the remaining neutral fans? Gone. Now it was full war. Cancel Bambi trended for a week. Scrappy's GoFundMe for legal fees hit its goal in 12 hours. And Stevie J? He got a podcast deal, a Netflix docuseries, and 3 million new followers. Because sometimes in the mess of it all, the one holding the receipts becomes the king. But here's the question. Was this ever about love? Or was it always about control? Because faking a pregnancy, filming it, laughing about it, that's not just messy, that's evil. And yet, under all the chaos, beneath the lies, and behind the courtroom drama, one truth stood tall. The camera doesn't lie, even when the people do. So ask yourself, was Bambi pushed too far? Or was this her plan all along? Is Stevie J the villain, or the unexpected hero who brought receipts no one else had the guts to show? And Scrappy, did he walk away a survivor, or just another pawn in a franchise that profits off pain? Because when love becomes leverage, the fallout is always lethal. And if you thought this story was over, oh baby, we just flipped the script. More leaks are coming, more names will drop, and you better believe season 14, it's going to be the wildest yet. So if you're still with us, hit that subscribe, smash that like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. No filter, no holding back. Because in this community, we don't do silence, we do scandal. See you next time. And remember, they lied, but the camera didn't.